Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today we usually have our Fabulous Friday Junk Journal series, but from now through the holidays, we're going to be doing Create Beautiful Holiday Gifts with me. I'm hoping that you will all understand that I can only do so much. So today we're going to make easy vintage style gift paper bags. But first, let's have our shout out to Deborah, Vicky, Unique Jewelry Design, Susan, and Pamela. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, we're going to start with a pre-made paper bag with a handle. Just like we get, we purchase some gift bags, that's what we're going to make. We're going to make our vintage style gift bags that we can put our gifts in that we will be making throughout the holiday season. So these right here, I have had these for years and years, you guys. I bought them online years ago when I was doing lots of farmers markets. I bought them by the hundreds. I do not know where to get them now. I'm sure that you can still get these small bags, but you have to buy a lot of them. That's the problem with them. You have to buy like 100 of them. This is 5.5 by a little over 4. You might be able to find it at a local craft shop and just get a few. I do have good news about the larger ones. I recently found these at Walmart in a pack of 25, very reasonably priced. And these are 10 inches by 8 inches. What we want to do is we want to get our scraps. And you'll want to get your scraps that are either book page, the words, or a ledger, or music paper, or lined book page, or grid paper, that type of thing, or even coffee dyed tracing paper. The kind of neutral, I don't have any digitals in here. These are all from books or music booklets, grid paper, that kind of thing. What we're going to do is we're going to get our, let's do it on this small bag right here. We're going to get our watered down school glue or any other wet glue that you like to use. I just put in more glue than water. In this container, I would just put this much water in. The rest I would put glue into it. And I'm hoping this will open up here. Goodness gracious, I didn't realize it was... There we go. I think it's open now. Now I'm just going to put my glue directly onto my bag, and I'm putting it on the side of the bag that doesn't have the flap. See right here, the bottom. I'm putting it on this side. We're only decorating one side. We're not going to decorate the back side. I have my flat tipped brush, and I'm just going to brush out my glue just like this. We're just going to collage. I know you all know how to collage. And simply just select your pieces, leave a little border around your bag, and then we're just going to glue them down. And like I said, I know you know how to do this. This is easy. I find it to be fun. I find it to be, effortless, that you don't really have to think about what you're doing. You're just putting your little pieces down, and then make sure you put your glue over the top. And someone's going to ask me, can I use Mod Podge? I don't care what you use. I would just suggest you use liquid glue, some kind of liquid. I personally don't care for Mod Podge. I know a lot of you do, but that's okay. That's why there's so many different types of glue out there, so that we all can find something that we like. So you get the idea. We're putting our glue all over it. We're putting our little scrap pieces on top, and we're making sure that it really gets glued down nicely. Now I'm picking these up to stick them back in my bag, because I'm going to bring one in that I've already done, that's completely dry, and I'm going to show you my next step. So here's one right here. As you can see, it's completely dry. I only did one side, not the side with the flap, but the other side, just like this. And I'm going to bring in, I'm going to get I've got this in my little container here. Get this back out. And I'm going to bring in some gesso. Now, you can make gesso. I used to make gesso, but then I just found that the store-bought really is pretty good. Anyway, this is Latex Basics Acrylic Gesso. I will list out down below. I don't have a link for it, but I can list what this is. And I'm simply going to put a little bit on my glass mat, just like that. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to get some gesso on it, and I'm just going to lightly brush it here and there. I'm not totally covering it up. It's just a little bit here and there, as you can see. Just a tiny bit. That's all there is to it, right? So I have one here, and I have already done my gesso. I'm going to clean this up, and we'll continue on. All right, so now I have my two different size bags. And for the larger bag, you're going to want a larger image. This one happens to come from digitalcollage.com. It is a subscription-based that you get different types of digitals from. And what you would do if you have a big picture, like maybe you have a big picture like this that you have in a magazine, or you have it in a picture book, you can use that too. There's no reason why you can't. But you will need to trim it out, fussy cut it out. So it's maybe something like this. So you would just fussy cut this out. I have used this one in an example, so you can see how it looks at the end. One of these right here, the smaller ones, you're going to need a smaller picture. Now this right here, let me look at my notes. This is a new digital for me. This one is it's from Polka Dot Art Studio. Polk Art Studio, Polka Art Studio. I will link them down below. Okay, they have bunnies too. I have an example of the winter bunny that came in this, but I thought that Christmas tree was gorgeous. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decorate this one right here to show you how some ideas on how you can decorate it. So I'm going to take my image and I'm going to take my vintage photo, and I'm just going to get some ink on my sponge, and I'm just simply going to go around the edge like this. And I'm not really inking a lot. I'm just taking anything that's like white. Sometimes when you cut paper, you still see the white part after you cut it, and that just it just helps blend it a little more together. Now I'm going to place this down here, and I'm going to kind of here, this one I can put in the middle, but on one like this one, like I was showing you, you would want to pull it over to the side and maybe stand him up a little bit, okay? Because we're going to be decorating one of the corners. So you would want to free up one of your corners to be able to put your decorations on so it wouldn't cover up your picture. I'm going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm simply going to glue this down. Now you can use whatever glue that you like to glue it down. Mine is art glitter glue, and I'm just going around the edges, and I'm just going to lay my fussy cut out. Fussy cut down, I should say. Oh, about right there. I think that would look good. All right, so we're just going to get this down. All right, so now we have our fussy cut all glued down. I'm going to bring in my dish right here. I have 4 bells right here, and I have a key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Sorry Silk right here from Crimson Heart Studios. I will link her shop down below. And I'm just going to take it and I'm going to make it thinner. I don't want it to be quite this wide. So I'm simply going to cut right down the center, and then I'm just going to tear it. Just like that. And that's where it's spliced. And I'm just going to trim it right here. Okay, so now I've got myself thinner pieces of sari, and that's what I wanted. So I'm going to just clean it up just a little bit by removing the threads. Okay, now we're ready to go. Maybe. There we go. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab a needle right here. I've got a needle. And what I want to do with the needle, I'm just going to have to clean it up just a little bit more, guys. Sorry about that. What I want to do with my needle is I want to go ahead and I want to string my bells onto my sari. And so I'm just using my needle to stick it through the loop on my bell. I'm going to put my big ones on first. So I don't know if you heard that, but that was my older dog. Okay, I'm just sticking my end of my needle in there, just pulling it through. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same for the smaller bead, bell. It's a bell. And let's get this stuck through. There we go. And then one more. So I'm putting the two larger ones on first, and then I'm putting on my two smaller ones, just like that. Alrighty, so we're just going to pull this through. There we go. Alright, put my needle back so I don't lose it. Alright, so now we have our bells on our sari, and I want to bring them down. Yeah, a little ways. How far? I don't know, just a little ways. Space them out a little bit. How far is that? The whole piece is, it's about 12 inches, and I've pulled it down about 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to knot at the bottom so my bead, I keep wanting to call these beads, so my bells don't come off. Right here. Put a knot on there, and then I'm going to attach my key at the end of my sari here. I'm going to put it right through the loop on my key. You can buy charms at your local craft shop. You could, I have had these, so maybe you have a Christmas tree, maybe you have an angel. Now, when I made my smaller one as my example, my smaller bag, I used buttons, and I'll show you how I did that, what that looks like in just a minute. So in case you don't have, well, that needs to go up closer. In case you don't have a charm, maybe you have some buttons. So you can also use buttons. You don't have to use a charm. This is just what I've chosen to use. There we go. One more knot. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to take my handle, and I'm just going to lift it up so I just get this handle, this one that's attached to the, what I'm now calling the front of the bag. And I'm going to put a little knot right here. Now I'm not having the still calling them beads. I'm not having the bell right up at the top. I'm letting it come down a little bit. You can see it come down just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and knot it. Just like this. All right, so now I can trim this off right here. And if you would think that maybe it might come undone, which I doubt seriously if it would come undone, I'm actually just put a little tiny bit of glue right there. I need a new glue stick. There we go. Alrighty. Also have a little tiny tag that I made myself out of cardstock. And it's approximately 3 inches by 1.5. I made it into a tag shape, and I put a hole in it. I'm going to get my vintage photo, and I'm simply going to ink around the edge, but first I want to take the points off of my tag. I forgot to do that. And I'm just going to ink this up both front and back. I love these decorative bags. They really make a gift very, very special, especially if you make them yourself. Now I have some hole savers, and I have just run my sponge with my vintage photo over it like this, and it just colors it right there. So it becomes a beautiful color. I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to add some of my art glitter glue to it because I really don't trust the glue on here. My savers are old, and I just wouldn't trust that it would stay if I did not do that. Now don't worry, you're seeing my glue, but it will dry clear. You're not going to see that when we get done. There we go. All right, so I'm going to decorate this up just a little bit more. Sometimes in kits you have tags or tickets. You can make your own ticket by just simply cutting out a strip that is 2 inches by 1 inch. So you would cut yourself a strip. Then you would get your pinking shears. These are Fiskars mini pinking shears. I've had them for a bazillion years. I'm pretty sure they still sell them. And I'm simply going to cut the ends of my ticket with my pinking shears. And then I'm going to grab my hole punch, my standard size hole punch, and I'm going to punch out the corners, just like this. So it will look like a ticket when we're done. So you can make your own in case you don't have a ticket. You can easily make your own. I'm just going to ink one side because we are going to glue this down onto our tag. Now this tag that we're making, this is where you're going to be writing to and from, okay? And I'm simply going to get my glue here and glue it down. I've noticed that I don't have my buttons handy. I've got to grab my buttons. Hang on just a second, I'll grab them. All right, so I have my buttons here, and what I did was I took my embroidery thread that was a green color that matched this other sari silk that we're going to use. I matched that up, and then we're simply going to glue them right on top of our ticket that's on our tag. So I'm using hot glue because it's quick, it's easy, and it's great for videos. So gluing that down just like that. So now our little tag, which we're going to put to and from, is all ready to go, and I'm simply going to tie it right onto this other end of the sari that we left. Okay, so get that on there. Come on, Cathy, get that on there. And then I'm just going to trim off this little piece. Just like that. Now I want to put a little bit of ruffles on here, so I'm going to grab that other end of that sari. We ripped it in half, remember? And I'm going to, I think I'll start right here. We're going to do some ruffles. By the pinching technique, we're just going to use our fingers. You can use hot glue. If you do, please be very careful. Or you could use fabric tack or whatever glue that you like to use. And I'm going to put my glue right on here. I'm going to lay my sari on top, and I'm simply going to pinch. Pinch, 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 and then push down. And I'm doing it in sections because my glue dries fairly quickly, and I don't want to put it down all the way down my bag and then have it dry. That wouldn't be good. So that's why I'm working in sections. If you're working with fabric tack, you could definitely put a little bit more down. But here we go, we're almost through. Simply pinching with my pointer finger and my thumb. and we're going all the way to the top here, pinching along and then pressing it down. I'm going to make sure that I've got this in glued nicely. I'm going to make sure I have this in glued nicely. Then I'm going to make the corner, and I'm going to go, whoops, let's just move that out of the way. I'm going to go until I reach the handle, the first end of my handle. I'm going to go where I've tied on my bells and my tag. I'm going to go to right there. So I'm going to just turn it and keep pinching and make that corner just like that. Oops, we got a little bit of streamers here, thread, and adding a little bit more till I get to that spot. There we go. Now, oh my goodness, that's looking fantastic. Let's go ahead. It's going to need a little bit of a bow. I do believe it's going to need a bow. So I've got my little piece of sari. I still have my other piece that I have, that when we tore it in half. And I have a little bit of green sari right here. So I'm simply going to take my larger piece and leave myself a little tail. I'm going to make a loop and another loop and another loop. Oh, I am going to need it. And a little bigger bow than that. That's a good size bow right there. I'm going to take my sari, and that's what I'm going to use to tie it. So I'm simply going to give myself a little bit of space, and I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to tie it. Just like this. Give it a good knot. There we are. So cute. Oh yeah, so cute. Now I'm going to give a streamer, cut some of this off. We're going to need to tie it right on here. I'm going to use the green because I'd like a little bit more green. I'm just using that same handle, same part of the handle in which we tied our bells onto. I'm lifting it up, and I'm just going to tie my bow right on there with my sari. And I decided to use green just because I think it's nice to have the two-tone going on. I think that's real pretty. And then I'm just going to give it a trim and give it a trim. And there you have your bag. It's got jingles, it's got jangles, it has a place that you can put your name to and from. It is definitely a beautiful bag. Here is another one that I've made. I put the green sari down here, put the same type of bow, the bells. It's a different picture than this one. It's still sandy. Now here's that one that I said that I used that I would show you at the end. There it is right there. It's got the bells and the buttons on the tag. Here is my little tiny one. Oh, I just love this one. Look at that little fella. He's so cute. Now I used some crinkle seam binding, and I just recently purchased this from my scrap cabin shop. And I'm going to link that down below. Here's the dangle that I was telling you about. That is the buttons that I made. And then I just put some music on the tag with the button in the middle. So that is my little dangle. Instead of the bells, I used some pretty buttons. And then the sari milk mixed with the seam binding. I think this would be a wonderful thing that you can stick your gifts in and really make a statement. You guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.